we discussed product decision in the previous session. We plan to complete the marketing section tonight, and tomorrow briefly we are going to discuss about the HR section. After that, we will discuss assessment, and next week will be assessment as well. Okay. Now, placement is actually about the channel strategy and distribution coverage strategy. Okay, they are the two decisions that we need to make when it comes to placement. And the reason why placement comes the second is basically we need to consider the decision why we select certain market in relations to our ability to reach our consumers in that host market. Okay, so now there are a few things here that I'd like to. I'm not going to discuss everything in details. Basically, I just want to bring to you that we deal with the logistical aspects when it comes to placement, especially in the international business context. Okay, where we need to the logistical network in here involves costs of doing the business. Okay, if your supply chain, if your distribution point is far away, okay, that means you need to consider the cost. Okay, not to mention that sometimes at the ports it may be you may receive different treatment to your home market. Okay, when you do import and export. Okay. So that's one thing in terms of the logistical aspect. Okay, therefore it has to be a part of the planning as well when it comes to making sure that the product is delivered on time, and making sure that we always have the support from inventory perspective. So when we run the campaign, for instance, from marketing perspective, we always have enough stock. Okay. In doing so, definitely from physical distribution perspective, we may involve the distributors to work together with us to ensure that that our customers can access the products or services that we provide for them. Okay. So this is a typical distribution network for manufacturing in a manufacturing context. Okay, and you can expand the chain actually to when it comes to the international business. Okay, we may involve distributor, we may not involve the distributor, but we may also involve the agents and brokers, okay, retailers, right, before our products reach the end users, right? And sometimes in the host markets, we may also assign our own Windows company or affiliation, if you like, or sister company that becomes our distributor. Okay, now it depends on that may involve some costs. Okay, so there are some companies assume that when they sell the products to when they make the products in the home market and distribute that to the overseas market, their own office in the overseas market needs to purchase these products from them. Okay, and it depends on their own policies. Some companies charge, X percent, just top up X percent to cover the fixed overhead costs, for instance. Okay, some other companies charge larger than that because they believe they also need to make profits. Okay, and some other companies have a different model where they have a full operation in that host market, so they build their own manufacturing facility. They're engaged in the distribution model, and so on and so forth. Okay, now for our assessment too, you need to consider how you will operate your own full operation in the host market. Okay, how you undertake the full operation in the host market. Okay. Okay. One of the things that we try to achieve in terms of the marketing logistic network is the efficiency and effectiveness. In the logistical team normally has a jargon to ensure the right customers receive the right products in the right time at the right cost, okay, in the right quantity. Okay, so that shows, I think that simple terms show the balance between the efficiency and also effectiveness of in terms of reaching out to the consumers. Okay, and the ability of the company to have strong logistical networks to achieve the efficiency and effectiveness actually contributes to the development of the competitive advantage. Okay, some companies adopt 24 hours delivery, and some other companies adopt 48 hours delivery from the time they receive the order from the customers. Okay, so you need to consider which one that you apply in your home market and whether you can apply that to the host market, what the challenges are. Okay. Well, of course, there is a trade-off in here in terms of cost managing these activities. Okay, the higher level of service that you provide, okay, the higher the level of cost that you need to consider. Okay. And look, these are a few things in terms of distribution channel in the international business context. Okay, we have moved from the channel management to the supply chain management. Therefore, we need to consider the agility in this instance, speed, cost, the efficiency, because we need to be able to compete. Okay. Now, the other thing that we also need to consider is the adaptability, where we need to be able to change the supply chain configurations, okay, in response to longer term change, considering the changing business environment and also the technology. Okay. Well, in our home market, we may have everything automatically designed. We have the computerized system, for instance, in place, but in the host market, it may not be the case. Okay. And we also need to think about whether we make it or we buy. Okay, so sometimes it's probably better to buy the materials from the others rather than supply that from our own home market. Okay, and alignment, definitely the alignment of interests of the various players in the supply chain. Okay, yeah, there are 3 I's in here that we need to think about when it comes to the distribution channel in the international business context. Okay, well, there are the decisions that we need to make from logistical perspective: the warehousing, the inventory, the transportation, and also the logistic information management. The key point in the one of the key tasks in the logistic function is the information management, because we want to ensure we provide the accurate information when it comes to making a decision. Remember, these logistical issues actually involve lots of capital. The inventory that we carry in the warehouse actually means a lot of money for the business. Therefore, it has to be supported by strong information management system. Okay. Right now, after the logistical function, let's discuss a little bit about the channel. This is what we mean by channel, which is basically the middleman. They are the middleman. Okay, they are the independent organizations that are involved in the process of making our products or services available for our consumers. Okay, so they are the middlemen between us. They basically do business between us and the final consumers. Just briefly, The roles of the marketing channels or the middleman, they provide the information. They help us gathering and distributing marketing intelligence, marketing information, if you like. They also help us promoting, in this instance, the spreading the communications about an offer, for instance. Okay, and they also make contacts for us, finding and communication with the prospective buyers. You can imagine that without the marketing channels, as a consumer, we may need to make contacts to many suppliers. Okay, think about if you want to buy tomato without the marketing channels, you need to go to Farmer John, for instance. Okay, and after that, if you want to buy zucchini, for instance, you need to go to Farmer Claire, for instance. Okay, and you need to go to the farmers and so on and so forth. From the firm perspective, the farmers also need to manage a lot of contacts. Okay, so with the marketing channel, everyone meets in that marketing channel. Okay, think about Woolies and Coles, for instance. With Woolies and Coles, we actually make contacts. Okay, as a buyer, we make contacts with the suppliers as well. Okay, so that's another role that they take. Matching, they actually shape and fit the offer to the buyer's needs. Okay, including the manufacturing. They may do the grading, reassembling. Okay, or sometimes they also repackage. Okay, in our home market, for instance, I think a few weeks ago, I mentioned that when I launched a new product in Asia, for instance, our distributor gave us feedback that the retailers cannot take a large size, a large order size. Therefore, we discussed about downsizing our carton box, actually. Okay, because they can't afford to purchase one box that contains 144 units. Okay, and we discussed how we manage that, because by design, as a manufacturer, we are good in terms of servicing mass volume or bulk volume. Okay, and this is the role of our marketing channels. They help us to unbulk them to be to have a smaller pack size. Okay, for to service the smaller size of purchase. Okay, negotiation, they help us with negotiation and also physical distribution. Definitely, they move our products from A to B. Financing, when they do these roles, they actually finance the activities, and in doing so, they also take risks. Okay, they assume the risks of carrying out the channel work, actually. Okay, right now, there are two key concepts I'd like you to include in your assessments. This is the first key concept: distribution coverage strategy. Okay, aside from the analysis of the logistical aspect, okay, how you manage the logistical aspect. Okay, so from distribution coverage strategy, you need to make a decision. You need to explain whether you actually perform the intensive distribution, selective distribution, or exclusive distribution. The intensive distribution basically involves as many wholesalers and retailers as possible, whilst the selective distribution actually only assign the best available for per geographic area, whilst in the case of exclusive distribution, you select only one reseller in the particular territory. Okay, so there are three things in here. First, you discuss the logistical aspects under your placement strategy, and second, you discuss the distribution coverage strategy, which concept that you will adopt. You describe that. Okay, and the third thing in terms of in terms of your placement strategy is the number of channels. Okay, so here we have the channel strategy. We have the direct channel strategy, like the producer meeting the consumers and consumers directly. In here, we say we adopt direct channel strategy, where we manage the relationship directly with the final consumers. Okay, The second and third model, if you look at that, basically involves what basically reflect the indirect channel strategy, where we assign marketing channel. Okay, so the second model involves one layer. Okay, so in other words, the channel strategy includes the decision on how many levels, how many marketing channel that we adopt. Okay, so the second channel model actually involves one marketing channel, the retailers, whilst the third marketing model, the third channel strategy involves two marketing channels. Okay. And obviously, if we assign the channel strategy, if we assign marketing channel, we may need to spend a higher level of costs. Okay. Now, in this instance, there are some companies that may adopt both direct and indirect channel strategies. Okay, so that also applies for the business-to-business marketing channel. Okay, so we assign one marketing channel or two marketing channels, and so on and so forth. Okay, again, the same thing to business industry, where we may have direct channel strategy and indirect channel strategy. In the context of business to consumer, if you look at businesses like Apple, for instance, they have both channel strategies actually, so hybrid channel strategy, if you like, where consumers can purchase their products directly at Apple Store or on their online store, or consumers can also purchase their products through retailers such as JB Hi-Fi or Telstra or Vodafone, and so on and so forth. Okay, the same thing to business to business category. Some business may adopt directional strategy, where they actually get involved with the business customers directly, whilst some other business model adopts the distributor distribution. They assign a distributor to help them distributing the products. Okay, so they actually adopt the indirect channel strategy. Now, some other business model may combine both direct and indirect channel strategy. Normally they manage the largest potential in the market directly. Okay, they manage the channel directly. Okay, if the potential of the market is huge, okay, they believe, well, we can't miss that out. We need to really manage it pretty well. So they are basically managing these geographical markets by themselves. Okay, whilst the other market, okay, that they consider still in developing stage, they assign a distributor. Okay, you guys manage that area, okay, and you work with us, okay, and they agreed to a number of things, including the support level and so on and so forth, aside from the distribution commission, for instance. Okay, well, of course, sometimes if the area is too small for them to hire to appoint a distributor that may charge a larger commission, they may assign a smaller level, like a depot, for instance, or they may hire someone just as kind of technical consultant in that area, where this person that functions as the technical consultant wander around the city, all right, talk to the business customers, all right, working as the consultant, all right, giving feedback, giving advices to the business customers. By the time these technical consultant also offers the products of the principals, okay, and they will be treated as a kind of distributor as well in this kind of channel strategy. Okay, right now. So you think about that, which model that works for you, okay, in terms of channel strategy, okay, direct, indirect, or combination, okay. If you are managing a business to business industry, then you also need to think about that area, how you manage the core market from geographic perspective, whether you manage that yourself, or whether you assign a distributor because you want to focus on manufacturing quality and also the marketing side of the business. So you leave the sales and distribution to your distributor, or you may combine like some other business models. Okay. Right. So that's basically channel strategy. And the next one is actually that's basically placements. Okay, the next one's actually price. Now look, let's discuss briefly about price. I don't think we can finish it tonight. We can continue this tomorrow, price and promotion. But price is I just want to discuss the key features of price tonight, where it is actually reflecting the amount of money charged for product or service, or from the consumer perspective, it is the amount of money that they are willingly to purchase to acquire the benefit of a product or service. Okay, in saying that, price is actually the only element in the marketing mix variables that generate revenue. The other marketing mix variables actually mean cost to the business. Okay, so if you develop product, if you assign the distributor, okay, that means cost to the business. If you shoot a campaign program, for instance, that means cost to the business as well. Okay, so that's price. Okay, now there are let's discuss about the this one here, and after that I just want to touch base about the second assessment, and we will complete the price and promotion and brief human resources in the next session. Yeah, and price was ages ago, price was considered as the addendum to a marketing plan, where companies would normally have their own pricing strategy, pricing policy based on the company's policy. But in today's business landscape, both experts and business practitioners agree that there is a connection between price and value, and the value that it creates. All right. Now, the brand name, for instance, actually has some connections to the price. Okay, and at the same time, when you create something, you also need to make sure that your price supports the brand reputation as well. Okay, the packaging, definitely, the store name, the country of origin. Okay, now I believe in your own product category, the country of origin may play certain roles when it comes to charging certain level of price. Okay, now here I'm talking about pricing strategies still from the consumer perspective. Okay, you also need to consider the adjustment that you make in the host market, considering the logistical costs. Okay, considering the other costs, considering the exchange rate, for instance. Okay, and the other thing that you also need to consider is the previous experience of the consumers with this product category. Okay, prior knowledge, and so on and so forth. Okay, right. So far, any questions?
No, Eddie, that's been good. Thank you.
Right, brilliant. Look, if you don't have any question, just this is my favorite topic. Sorry about that. So at this stage, this is basically how the assessment, is structured, and I believe that one shows some clarity. If you refer to the structure, shows some clarity in terms of what aspects that we need to include for each element. Can I please ask? Can I please confirm that you are basically quite clear with these assessments?
We've used this structure, this points 1 to 12, to actually divide up the work amongst us.
Right, right. Okay, okay. Well, the good thing is that you're going to use one business, one company, and I believe it is still in the same recommendation as you made for your assessment one in terms of
Yes, it
market
is.
selection.
Yes.
Okay, okay. Well, if that's the case, then everybody just need to refer to the same macro and micro environmental analysis. Therefore, I think the next discussion is actually about the entry strategy, either acquisition or greenfield operation or joint venture. And SWOT analysis pretty much done, I believe, with the previous assessments. Okay, then the big ones basically starting from 7, 8, 9, 10. Am I correct?
No, we're going to have to change our macro and micro analysis because we're actually doing something that's a little bit different to selecting a country.
Right.
Selecting a country is really about a long-term viewpoint on where the business needs to go, whereas assessment 2 will be really about entering the country and adjusting to this new focus of actually starting a new business. So assessment 1, in my opinion, was a long-term thing. In other words, the company can get to India in some phase or some method, some way. Assessment 2 is really a plan of doing it, and it's a much shorter focus. So I believe it'll have a different micro environment, and it'll have a different SWOT analysis.
Right. Well, I think it is a matter of adjustment. In my view, I don't know your discussion. I don't get involved, but I respect your own your viewpoint as a team. And again, you at least you have outlined the foundation when it comes to the situational analysis, because you did that in your assessment assessment 1. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. So the foundation is there. Fine tuning, refining. Of course, I expect that refinement, basically because you now looking at the market in a closer look. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Any questions so far, Greg?
No, Eddie. That's good. Thank you.
Right. Brilliant. If that's the case, then I'll see you in the next session.
Yep. Look forward to it. Thank you.
Right. Brilliant. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.